anything I can oil, grease the ball on the hitch. We got some in line here. We'll see how this goes. It'll be our first time with an actual bale trailer instead of a wheat truck. See how many of these holds. We don't really know how many to put in a line. How many she needs, she can stack them while I'm hauling them to the house. We don't know how many to put in a row because we don't know how many it holds. It's looking like at least 8 maybe, if not 10. They added an extension to the back of it from the original design. It has a place back here where it's welded. He had a Kubota demonstration baler he baled with last year, but this looks like the baler he used a couple years back. They're a little, they're tall, but they're real narrow. They're like maybe 4 foot by 6 foot or so. So I'm guessing they would be the about 1,400 pound bales. She didn't want to drive I intended for her to drive the truck so she could set in the AC and radio and whatnot. And she refused to drive it because it looks like it's about, I'm not sure, I'm guessing it's at least 40 foot long maybe. And it's really kind of a pain to get around through all the gates, and even the driveway was a little bit of a tricky getting it to swing around, so she didn't want to deal with that. So she said she'd rather haul and get the hay all over. So I intended to put it in the old garden area where my mom and dad had a garden, where I put it every year. But I drive between 2 stumps where Garrett cut off some trees on the road, and there's no way I can get it to swing that tight, so I'm gonna have to drop them out in the patch where I put the cows during the winter time. Part of the time when it gets really cold, I usually put them out there so they have a wind break from the hay shed. But I'm going to set them out there, and hopefully I can get them hauled in before it decides to rain. I got my truck sideways. They say it will mess up the park in the transmission. I don't know what exactly it's called. So I set the park brake and turned it sideways to keep pressure off the transmission. If you can see it, but they're pretty wet on the bottom side from sitting out here so long. I found one of my old original bell spikes that aren't made out of cast metal. I'm gonna try to weld one of those back on. I had one in the shed. I found it cleaning the shed a few summers back, and don't know where I put it. And I found the other one kind of stuck back behind the cab on the skid steer when I was working on it the other day. I changed all the filters and the oil and air filter and such, and I figured out how to tighten the alternator belt. Hopefully the alternator's not bad and it'll start charging, because the belt was pretty loose. So I figured out how to tighten it. I had to kind of reach underneath the cab and get a couple bolts loose to tighten it, where you couldn't hardly get to it. I've noticed on the cat skid steers, the motor sets the other way, so the belt's out right there, or out the back side where you can open the door, and that'd be pretty handy. this motor's set sideways, so you got a alternator's clear back in there where you can't reach it very well. Well, we got, if she can get it to, got a little bit of a problem. It can't hardly push them on there. We got 6 of them on there right now. It looks like it might hold 10 if we can get them on there. It's not doing, the ground's still a little soft, so it's not doing so well pushing them on there. Ground's still a little wet down in here. I mean, it's a little moist. It's not dry. Still pretty moist. They're moving. We're up to 7. That's a lot of bales. We could haul 10 at a time. We could have this hauled in. I think there's 200, and I think he told me 243. So if we can haul them in 10 at a time, that might make it a little quicker than hauling 5 at a time on the truck. The old wheat truck. That's if we can get the skid steer to shove them all the way up on there, though. Gonna be a little, well, the wheels are set quite a ways back. I think it's gonna be a little tipsy if we had to go with just the bells on the back, but. Well, that's 8 bales. We can still get 2 more, so it'll haul at least 10. There's a little space in the back. Looks like there's room for at least 2 more. Like I say, these are the 4-foot bales, so they're a little lighter anyway, or a little narrower, I mean. Well, actually a little lighter than the bales last year too. So I'm gonna have to go move here. So I went out, turned around. We're going downhill. Maybe that would help. And turn my truck sideways again. It's not going so well. They're not sliding on there like we need them to. It could just be a matter of figuring out how to do it. But of course, they're wet on the bottom side, so that probably doesn't help. If they were fresh baled, you know, if we'd hauled them right after they're baled, they probably would have slid on easier. It looks like one more bale, we'll have her. I don't think it'll haul 11. 10 on here. There's exactly why I need the other spear welded on there. The bell will just spin around if it's uneven. You don't have it perfectly in the center, it'll just spin around. You can spear it anywhere and keep it that same angle or whatever. If you had the other spear, at least one more spear on there. The other side and just shifting the bells, putting the spear between the bells and shoving at least 3 of them forward, and then she's going to see if she can shove that last bell on without having to push those other front 3. There we go. There we go. Now we got her. 10 bales. Oh, on the second load now. I don't know if the ground's a little drier over here on this side of the patch or what. Where of course we're already have a downhill where I was uphill before. So maybe she's either that or she's got it figured out a little better. I'm not sure, but she kind of hits it up high and then getting them shoved up there. So. She kind of dropped it right before she went up and hung up on the back there. Thought it was going to destroy it, but so we've got three more bales. We'll have her. Kind of wondering, I don't know if you can see that wet spot there on the bales, that big old wet spot where they've been setting out here. Kind of wondering if maybe if we rotated them where the dry side was going down on the trailer, maybe they would slide better. One more bale. Can we do it without the side shifting the front bales forward? That's the test. Can it be done? I guess the wet spot isn't entirely on the bottom on this one. You can see that. It's kind of off to the other side where we're looking. So maybe. Close. A little more. And of course it rolled over. Didn't make it, so we're going to try to side shift a few bales to the front. Definitely need to get that other bar welded on there. there we have it. It looks like there's bales about as far as the eye can see. Welcome to the jungle. He didn't mow this part. As you can tell, it got really tall. It's taller than the hood of my truck. The stemmy part anyway. I actually need to follow her because for some reason after I tighten the belt, it still doesn't want to, it still ain't making enough, it's not charging. And it's going to be a pain to take that alternator out and put a new one in, but I think that's why it has to be done. Put a new belt on it while I'm at it. Hopefully that'll fix the, well, it surely would fix the problem, but around this pond in past years. It was dry. Last 2 years it was dry enough I could drive across the shallow end right there because there was no water. This year the whole thing is about as full as it can be almost. This end right there, that's the very end here, I drove across there. Right there is where I drove across last year instead of going, because where I went there's a big kind of ditch where the water runs out of that 40-acre field into this pond. Yeah, right in there is where I crossed the last 2 years. So this is a little tricky situation here. I gotta get this 40-foot, I'm guessing, trailer around through that gate and back up that road. So I cut clear over here, yes, as far as I can to this tree, back to this post, as close as I can get it, and then straighten it out, straight up the road here, and go to this ditch. I don't know if you can see. See, there's the post I gotta miss. So there I am, and Here's where I'm at in the road. Clear over here in this ditch. Might go forward a little bit. There's a pile of scrap back there. So in this patch, we ended up with 91 bales, and he didn't cut and bale all of it. He only cut and baled about half of it. So there's one bale we're going to take over there, one bale shy of a bale, one bale over a load. So we'll have to take it over to the other patch. James here. You're watching The Poor Farm. If you like these videos, hit like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.